we are here. It is February 26, 2025. We are here with Patricia Schneider, who is the president of the Great Neck Chamber of Commerce. And we are very happy to have you with us. And we would love to hear about your story with Great Neck. So when did your parents first come to Great Neck, or did you come as an adult?
I came as an adult. My husband and I came here in 1976 with a 1-month-old child, and we moved into Great Neck Estates. And she went to school here in South Middle and South High School. Excuse me. And we enjoyed a wonderful time here in Great Neck. And I'm going to jump quickly to Chamber of Commerce, and then we can backtrack. Joined approximately 15 years ago, Chamber of Commerce, and became a board member, and then eventually they enticed me to become president, in which that's my title today. I have seen a great many changes in Great Neck over the years, and my wishes and concerns are to try to reestablish some of the wonderful ethos that we enjoyed in Great Neck, and to just make everyone want to enjoy being here.
So what were some of your favorite places to go when you first moved here in Great Neck? Are those places still around, or are they gone?
Well, first I will say the two movie theaters were a great stomping ground for us, because the movies were always fabulous and up to date. They are now no longer. As a matter of fact, one is an apartment house and one is a golfing range, so that's kind of interesting. Nevertheless, there was also a great social thing and restaurant thing happening in Great Neck in the 80s and 90s. I'm sure we've all heard of Millie's, which hasn't existed in a very, very long time. Most of the restaurants that we frequented are no longer in existence, and we're still looking for that focus to bring them in.
What were some of the names?
Well, Millie's is the top of the list. I can't even remember the most of them. There were seafood restaurants and Italian restaurants, and just generally very good destination restaurants. My husband and I moved here from Bayside because we had our office in Manhattan, and we could get in there in 45 minutes. And so this was the destination, and it still is. I mean, you can hop on a train and be there without paying the fees in 20 minutes. So again, people moving here for the schools, which are exemplary, and the different religious groups are also, very much involved in taking care of you.
What were some of the places your children went to for recreation when during the late 70s, early 80s? What were some of the parks they liked to visit?
Well, they generally went through the schools and did my daughter was involved with tennis, and basically that was her focus.
Where was the tennis place? Do you remember the name? Or
we went ice skating in Great Neck on Allenwood Drive, whatever that is, and which she did also. And tennis, we went into Port Washington to play tennis. If she was not on a team in school, so that was pretty much her. And of course, there was a large social. She went to the nursery schools here, both community nursery school and also a temple nursery school.
Do you remember what the name of the temple was? Or?
Bethel.
Bethel. Okay.
So we were very much, and then my husband was also involved because we lived in Great Neck Estates. He was a trustee there, so we got involved with the
Okay, so the so what were like the businesses? How did they like evolve from like when you first moved here in the '70s and then just going on through the different decades?
Well, let's start with clothing. We had Camp and Campus. We had other, I can't even remember the names any longer, but we had Jill Dore shoes. I mean, these were mainstays in the community at the time for many, many, many years, up until, I would say, 5, 10 years ago. Again, this was making Great Neck a destination, these kinds of places. They no longer exist. We have great bagel places. We have a couple of significant delis that still exist. The great chicken restaurant on Middle Neck Road used to also be a destination. It's gone. And we now have different kinds of businesses, mostly eyeglass, manicure, where we do have some Asian restaurants, but it's a different kind of situation than we used to have. And we're looking for a place we're looking for a type of place to bring people in again, all the people.
What were like the most popular like businesses in the '80s? Like, was it mostly? What do you think were the most successful? Like the food industry businesses or clothing
I would say
businesses?
food would be the most interesting, because that was, again, bringing people in from outside of Great Neck. We now seem to be talking to people inside of Great Neck who are looking for reason to be here.
So I was wondering if you could tell us how you got started with being on the board, and then how you became the president, and just some experiences working with the Chamber of Commerce and some of the things that were accomplished during your years there from when it started to.
Well, I absolutely love the concept of living in Great Neck. Its proximity, it's just a general place. It was easy to be here. And I was approached by friends to join the chamber, and I figured that was a civic responsibility, which I took seriously.
So who were some of the old members from the chamber that you know, and who were some of the old presidents that were before you?
Well, who were some of the old ones? Well, what comes to mind is the most recent. I don't really remember really far back. But I know that we have Dennis Grossman, we have Hussein Namatzadeh, we have, sorry, I'm just absolutely blocking all these names. I should have brought my cheat sheet. So, and originally, when we had our anniversary, 100-year anniversary in 2015, there were almost 200 people in the chamber.
So do you?
We now are not there.
Do you know some of the original places that the chamber used to meet? Because I'm sure it's evolved. No, but
I think we used to meet in banks that were members. We now meet in Great Neck and Metropolitan Bank for our meetings, and we have breakfast. And we have, networking events in some of the restaurants.
Which
in
restaurants?
Town. We were just in Dagim 2 weeks ago, which we had a fabulous time. We were in Morton's, which is always a hit. We have very good attendance there. And people sort of love getting together and talking to one another and networking. And we have, in my years as president, have sort of enjoined people to meet and greet one another. They're always looking for value added. Why join the chamber? Well, to join the chamber is to meet other people and to perhaps discuss your problems and their problems. and Great Neck's problems, and you know, how do you see the future of business in Great. And that's basically what I've been involved with. And we've been sort of pushing social media and putting people's information out on our social media and sort of spotlighting them. I'm also restarting a newsletter, which was very important many years ago.
What's the name of it?
It's called, thank you very much, I knew I should have brought a cheat sheet. Spotlight. I'll get you that information.
So who is on the chamber now?
Who? Well, what do we have? There's a long, we have 25 people on our board right now.
You can name like a few, like who,
Well, I
like
have
the main.
Dennis Grossman, Hussein Namatzadeh, Corinne, oh my God, Sodano, Lauren De Santolo, Roger Chisova, Elliot Rosenblatt, he's an old timer. And that's just our executive committee, actually.
So what are your what were what was it like when you first became president? What were some of the challenges you experienced, or some of your early accomplishments as president?
The challenge has always been to ask people to get involved in the chamber and spend time, volunteer time, away from their regular business to do fundraising, membership drives. That's always a challenge. And as with many different nonprofits, you will always find 4 or 5, 6 or 7 people who will raise their hand and join that committee to make it happen. And that's been sort of my challenge from the beginning of my time there till today, as recent as this morning.
So one question I love to ask everyone we interview is, since you lived in Great Neck, do you remember when you first moved, or like over the years, any famous people you remember seeing who lived here?
No.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
We moved here, and I worked and raised a child, and sort of was very busy with our lives, so I wasn't looking for interface with others. We had a very close cadre of friends, which I still retain today. So whoever else lived here, that's nice too, you know. Do people really remember that? Sorry.
No. So another question I had is, so while you're in the chamber, like what do you deal with, what local or political officials do you all deal with?
All of them.
All of them?
As a matter of fact, I just recently had some committee, asked some specific people in the chamber to dialogue with 4 or 5 of our most recent elected officials to talk to them about grant monies, so that the chamber could have, you know, monies coming in. And I am also on the board of the Nassau Council of Chambers, which is a group which encompasses 59 Nassau County chambers. So they feed me information that I can share with our local chamber. So that's kind of interesting.
And how long have you been there for?
I've been involved in that for about 5 years.
So what, here's another good one. What caused you to join the chamber and get involved in local affairs?
I really thought, I use the term civic responsibility. I don't know if it's naive or whatever, but I truly believe that you have to give back something that this wonderful community has given to me. And part of it is explaining to people that really being here and having a business here is sort of kind of terrific. And you should sort of want to figure out how to make it better especially in these times where we're so incredibly diverse. I am also on a forum with the mayor of Great Neck Plaza, which is called the Coalition Committee, and we're trying to put together information and people to talk to Great Neck at large. This is outside of the business community, about getting to know one another, because our diversity has really sort of changed the complexion of Great Neck, and we want to figure out how to make it warmer and more and better. So that's interesting too.
How do you judge like community involvement from now over the years, from the 80s and 90s? Like what happened first, and like did it change?
Well, I'm only speaking from the business community. I think that I don't think anything has changed other than the fact that we don't have as many people wanting to be here, business-wise. We couldn't even get a new supermarket in. Which has been vacant for years and years.
Are there any old grocery stores or supermarkets that you remember that were here in the 70s or the 80s?
Well, you had Waldbaum's, you had and you had Best Market in town, and back in the day you had Gristini's.
Do you remember where that was?
In the garden. I mean, we're talking about even before I got here. So there have been markets here, but due to inability to have proper parking or proper inloading of materials, we're having a darn problem getting someone back into that big space in the gardens in Great Neck Plaza.
So another question I have is, what is the difference between the Chamber of Commerce and the Great Neck Business Improvement District?
I can't really give you a real good answer to that one. They really handle the marketing of the businesses. They go to they take a fee and charge each, I believe, I could be wrong, for their marketing. They do coupons and they do, interface with them that way. We don't, other than our joining fee, the chamber only provides social media and that kind of content. So they're really been involved more as a grassroots situation, as opposed to we being business related and trying to just have the businesses communicate, network with one another. I think that's basically the problem. They used to do huge fairs and things in town, and they haven't done that.
So can you talk about some of those fairs that happened? Like, what were some fairs that Great Neck would host?
Well, we used to have a huge farmers market in the old village, which is really exciting. And then in the plaza there used to be a market with the I'm losing my train of thought, with cars, antique cars that I remember. They haven't done that in years.
What type of cars do you remember seeing?
They were all antique cars. And that was great fun. But it hasn't happened in many, many years now. The chamber also used to do a dine-around back in the day in the Merchant Marine Academy when they had the fabulous, when we were still allowed to use their fabulous rental and event space. And it was very successful.
What type of food was
served? It was all the restaurants participated in town.
Do you remember
again, we're talking about many, many years.
Do you remember some of the names of the restaurants?
No. Bavanda, it comes to mind, which is recently closed many years. And of course, Millie's and everybody.
So what are some of the new or returning businesses you would like to see in Great Neck?
I just found out Colson Coringe is leaving, and that was a business that has been with us for 50 or 60 years, if anyone didn't know that it's happening. And that is a great loss to our community. People come in from Manhattan to buy their things from there. What other kind of business? I would like to see great restaurants. But there's concern about parking, there's concern about people maintaining, going to these restaurants. And basically non-ethnic. But again, that would be my choice. But that's just me.
Also, just to go back to the Chamber and the Business Improvement District, do you both work together on certain things?
We have, but we really don't interface that much. I guess I've been a little lazy about it, and they conversely as well, because we sort of have different lanes. So I can't give you a better answer. I'm sorry.
So just when you were, just go back to like when your kids went to school in Great Neck, when they were growing up, were you involved in any of like the PTA, or were you involved in any women's clubs in Great Neck? Or
My husband was involved with the PTA. I was not involved with any women's clubs.
What was his role in the PTA?
I have no idea. He was not an official, but he was on top of it.
All right, so I want to thank you for coming. We really enjoyed hearing your story.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Really appreciate it.
I hope I gave you something that you could use.
You gave us more than enough. Thank you so much.